October 4. Just ask for a motion to approve the agenda, please. Councilor Blaria, Councilor Sanjanko, all in favor? It's carried. One set of minutes to adopt from the September 20th meeting, so I'll ask a motion to adopt those minutes. Councilor Lumley, Councilor Blaria, all in favor? And that's carried. Those minutes that were just adopted at a resolution number 2016-273 dealing with the Shaw Road bicycle lanes. Section 131 of the community charter allows a mayor to initiate a reconsideration of a matter, provided that its notice of the reconsideration is done within 30 days of the meeting. It's not a section to be used or to be exercised lightly. Once council makes a decision, it generally should stand. But it can be used sometimes when there's extenuating circumstances. While the discussions around the bike lanes are important for our community as a whole, one of the extenuating circumstances in my mind is that this decision impacts one neighborhood more significantly than others in the town. Not that we don't take into account other neighborhoods as well, but it is a factor in a decision to reconsider. The second factor in this case is my understanding that the hand-delivered flyers may not have been delivered in a timely manner, that people may have only received them a day before the survey initially was supposed to end. And this could have inhibited input from residents, thinking that perhaps they had no time to put in a thoughtful submission. The third extenuating circumstance in my mind is that this particular matter, being of fair importance, was not brought before a full council, and that in no way is a reflection on council whatsoever. But I think that the interest in this particular topic warrants deliberation by a full council. So I will be directing the corporate officer to bring back to a future meeting for reconsideration resolution 2016-273. One should not assume that reconsideration automatically means a change in the outcome. Reconsideration simply means it will be reconsidered. At this point, I'd like to make a motion that staff organize an information meeting with the residents of the Shaw Road area as soon as possible to explain the project and to receive further input and bring that back to council along with the reconsideration of this topic. Second, Councillor White. All in favor of that motion then? And that's carried. So this will come back, and there will be an opportunity that will be arranged very shortly for the residents of Shaw Road to meet with council and staff and understand the project and to hear your concerns. Okay. With that, we do have one delegation. Mr. Dempster, please come forward.
Hello, council. Well, greetings. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this evening on this matter. Caught me a little off guard, Mayor Rowe. The intent of my delegation here this evening was to try to convince council to do what you've just done. So I don't know if you'd like me to proceed with the items that I was going to review with you now, or if you want, should we just wait till when we meet with staff? a separate time.
Yeah, do a brief outline, and hopefully it will be more complimentary than some of the correspondence we received.
I hope so. I'll do my best to do that. Again, thank you for giving us the opportunity. And I would like to start off with an apology. We realize that much planning has gone into this, and much discussion has already gone into this matter. And as the type of community citizens that we feel ourselves to be, we should have been watching things closer and intervened long before it got to this point. Apologies if we've caused frustration to council and or staff, but we really think we have some valid points that should be considered before we. Again, I'd like to just give a little background on the Shaw Road residents, myself, so you have a better understanding of what we're capable of doing and how we're capable of helping. My wife and I live at 610, my wife Lori and I live at 610 Shaw Road, which is near the north end of the top, up by closer to the Petrogan, actually directly across from Davis. And we've been there for 20 years now. Prior to that, we were just around the corner on Papa Lane, where the boys spent most of their childhood days. And riding their bikes up and down. Certainly has changed a bit since then. There's been significant growth since that time. Myself, I got involved in doing what I could around the town. Once I started my own family, I joined the volunteer fire department, spent 25 years with them here in Gibsons. 5 years, 5 consecutive terms as the elected fire chief. I've served on the numerous town commissions and committees, West House Sound Recreation Commission, West House Sound Park Protection, Provincial Emergency Program, COPS, Crime Stoppers, a number of different functions. So I'm experienced and willing to work with the town on issues to make our community a better place. Down the other end of the road, we have the Ingalls family. They've been a significant factor in the growth and development in the town of Gibsons for going on 80 years or more. And those stories continue up and down the street with Toms and the Kerns and the Guinness and that's people, long-term residents, lifetime residents, many of them. Yeah. We're willing to want the best for our town. Admittedly, it was the shock of losing our parking that got our attention, if you will. And since that time, it's been a flurry of activity in the Shaw Road area, doing our own research and talking with as many people as possible, cyclists, residents as well. We've been knocking on doors. Got over 200 signatures now on a petition asking that you do what you've just done. So the support is there from the citizens and the willingness, as I said, to work with council on this. Made a number of trips down here to the town hall to get documentation and information and a number of phone calls, emails back and forth with some of your staff. They were a pleasure was dealing with them. Selena and Jennifer and with that, they're very friendly and helpful, and just truly a pleasure to the crux of the project seems to be driven by the staff report titled the Shaw Road Cycling Options. And within that report, there's 4 or 5 key elements in our way of looking at it that caused you to come to the decision to proceed with this. First of all, the survey, and you mentioned yourself, Mayor Rowe, that the distribution might not have been right, and we have a little more concern than that. We believe the survey is probably a very good tool for determining the overall community's feelings towards bike lanes, bike paths, for those things. But we don't believe that that survey asked the right questions of the right people in the right manner to use it as justification to proceed with this specific project. He said not really the right people either. So it wasn't really the right tool to use as justification, no more than the Coast Reporter survey conducted last week that said 75% of people would not eliminate street parking. Not really valid, doesn't ask the right questions. We really need to think how we compile our data. Cyclist safety, a major component of that survey. This can be a very difficult topic. I'm very familiar with discussing safety items. My last 20 years of my working career, I was a safety manager at House on Public Favor. So I'm quite familiar with hazard recognition and control and the principles of avoiding hazards. But when we get into the kind of motherhood statements such as, I wouldn't dare say that bike lanes would make it safer. Put it that way. That's just not a good statement to make. But what we do feel that they are not necessary in this area at this time, given a number of factors. We have no history of incident involving cyclists and pedestrians or cyclists and motorists. Have, in fact, very few incidents that we can recall even involving two motor vehicles. And no one that we've talked to could recall any incident involving motor vehicle accident involving personal injury. So it's a 4 blocks long with extremely good visibility. You can see from one end to the other very clearly. The road surface is in excellent condition. Being a dead end road, speed is not generally a factor. You're always going to get a couple of riders that are so we feel that if there is money available for making improvements to our bicycle path and lane networks, that there are much greater priorities that should be looked at first. Certainly, we all know that Shaw Road will one day go through and become a connecting road. And certainly at that time, it would behoove us to review and re-examine the need for the lane. This time, given the traffic volumes and history, we don't feel that it is necessary. Many of these cyclists that we've been stopping for the past 2 weeks, as we're doing our own investigation, share that opinion. Some of the thoughts are that we can spend the money there when there are so many places that present real hazard to the cyclist. Something needs to be done. Again, we are definitely concerned about safety. If we're not raising children now, we're raising our grandchildren. We all very attuned to what's going on in that specific community. I know we said we missed the boat here on this project, but in terms of our little neighborhood, we are very in tune with what's going on there. I still have a bicycle in my garage that my grandsons usually come to visit, and other than making sure they put their helmet on, I'm not at all. We totally support and admire the cycling community. Prior to joining the fitness protection program, I was an avid cycler myself. And now it has a bit of a challenge. So we definitely support them and admire them. My youngest son pedaled across Canada a few years ago with his money. Personally, I very much admire the cycle. We all need to be doing what we can to reduce emissions and live healthier lifestyles, and nothing but good. It's not the time or the place. The official, another document referenced in the staff report is the official community plan. And this ever-changing document is intended as a guide. We all know that. Any project of this significance that's going to have that degree of impact on the local community, on the micro community, or neighborhood, if you will, should definitely require more input, and I'm just certainly pleased to hear you as well. There are many other options in terms of possible bike routes mentioned in that plan, and I've only just learned of a cycling and trails master plan that I believe the town has designed, or I don't know the status of that plan. We would certainly be willing to help, you know, to the people pounding the pavement out collecting data, but whatever capacity we can help further develop that plan and set priorities to it and how to work towards those priorities, would be quite prepared to do that. And the 2016-2018 strategic plan does reference bike paths, but only in a very general sense, noting that they should be continuously expanded and improved. It makes perfect sense to hold this, but it doesn't specify locations and projects. And finally, the Bike BC grant. I did not get a chance to review this document either. I was looking for the application of that, so I can see specifically what was requested. I'm not sure if there's timelines attached to it. I'm not sure if it identifies this exact plan specifically, or if it's the application or the grant would be available for any improvements to the bike paths. We're not too sure about that at this point. So. But if there are timelines, it's unfortunate. That's kind of the sense we're getting at. There are timelines attached to this grant that seems to be coming up every time we say, well, let's slow down and take a look at things while we have to. I'm sure something could be worked out with like BC people, and if it means that, you know, we're not ready, we need a little more time to study our needs and those in order to spend your dollars in the best possible manner. I'm sure you're the main reasons for our opposition to this project, the way it is as I said, the initial response was we can't lose that parking. Make everybody's daily lives, and it really will. You know, most of the residents, the street parking is not really an issue. We all have driveways. Every park their own vehicles in, but most of us are receiving some type of visitor every day. My wife and I both come from large families. Grandkids that come to visit us almost daily. Many of our friends and family members, well, some of my friends can probably use a walk around the block, but some of them simply aren't capable. You know, we have family members with disabilities and medical. You know, they won't be coming over to the house as often. Others, it's even more drastic. I don't know if you're all made it here this evening, but you're a Baptist down the road. She has a regular Bible study group of 12 ladies, and they range from 65 age. Walking from the curb to the front doors, it is pretty much the extent of their capabilities at this point. We need to have a look at how we're going to manage these kinds of things. It's friends, it's family, it's any service people or any kind of home service that we may need to contract for numerous reasons that will be impacted by this. As well as the adjacent streets. As I said, we've been pounding the pavement, talking to not just the residents on Shaw Road, but we branched out to Davis Road. First they came to us, actually, and says, hey, this is interesting, this is turning into a parking lot. There is some concerns there as well. Another item that was brought up at our group meeting last week is a possibility that they would actually devalue our properties. I know some studies indicate that a strong network of bike paths and lanes would actually makes a community more attractive rather to new residents, and that certainly is logical. But personally, I don't know that I would have bought the house I'm in now if there had been this volume. Although strong network of bike paths and lanes would certainly make the community as a whole more attractive. I don't know that it does any specific street, and I have reached out to some but we're still contemplating. Again, I don't want to pound it, but we don't see it being the best use of the tax dollars. As I said, most of the bikers that we're talking to have a number of suggestions where the money could be better spent in terms of upgrades. North Road, Reed Road, Bellfront Road, some of the obvious suggestions. And finally, the fact that we did not believe we had a good opportunity for input, and we probably address that later. I'm not going to comment on that. Again, just want you to know that many of the residents there are experienced working with the town. We're ready and willing, and do whatever we can to help put together a more viable, palatable town.
Right, thank you.
Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and answer now.
Thank you very much. Yes, it'll be important to have a dialogue so that you understand the constraints that we have as well, the town has, and also it will be important for the town to understand the impact that this has on daily lives of people that put it whichever way it should ultimately. Anybody want any clarification at the moment, or we leave this when we have our dialogue? We're going to try to get something set up pretty quick so that we can have this discussion and after once we've got a chance to engage with the neighborhood. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the people are just here for that particular item. Please feel free to leave if you wish, so we won't disturb us if you wish. Okay, 5.1. The report was extremely thorough. I don't know if I need to hear from Director of Planning particularly. I don't know. In specific, is there anything that's not in the report that has come up that we should know? I mean, it seems to fit very nicely.
With regards to the formal character, no, I think the bigger discussion is about a liquor license. So, yeah, this report is just strictly about the formal character. I have nothing to add to the report. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Roman.
It was very thorough. It's a good report. I read it in congruence with the ABC report as well. I had a couple questions on that. Now the first one, don't take this the wrong way, but after I lived here for 2 or 3 years, I thought if I see another business that calls itself Sunshine Coast, Sun Coast, Coastal, I'm going to lose my mind. So thanks. I'm now officially lost my mind, so,
We strive to be only now.
but I do like the fact that you're trying to move it in with your first phase of like the other development, but not mimic it all that well. I think that's really important to it. And I know they brought up the affordable housing component, and, you had mentioned that, having residential, like kind of that commercial residential, like that mixed use type thing was like, you're not a big fan of it, I guess, due to the fact that, the codes.
What I haven't come up with a series of questions on time, but what I said on that is that doing it in small.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's fine, the process, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Long.
I believe what I said to that point, Stafford, was that doing affordable housing on small infill scales is very difficult to accomplish when you're facing it with commercial and restrictions on fire code and stuff. Doing it on a very small scale is challenging. What I would never have said it, I don't want to say it, I'd love to say it. And to the contrary, us integrating residential units into the second phase of Blue Heron Village never was about making that. If the village work properly, you need a nice interface between residential, commercial. And to move that forward, the other thing you do is have business active at different times. Have that sort of village life that sort of has life through multiple times and multiple days, and that's what comes from residents and different places.
So I'm just trying not to be confused, but why, maybe through you or to, maybe the planner, why would the APC bring up, like in that discussion, why would the APC bring up with respect to affordable housing? Or is there land being used that was already, that was gonna be residential, or is it future residential that they're looking for?
I think Andre can speak better to this, but given the fact that the zoning is in place for this, affordable housing really isn't a major. We're dealing with form character and liquor license.
Sure.
So it was never put on us the way it is when you go into a multifamily development.
Yeah.
How we contribute towards the family, because we didn't need to rezone.
Okay, I'm just wondering why it came up in the APC report, that's all.
I'm wondering if the reference in the APC minutes it's not for this property. I think it's for the one on Gibsons Way, 736 Gibsons Way, the townhouses. So I don't think the reference was made to the proposed building for the distillery brewery.
Okay. I'm sorry if I missed that. That's fine.
And if I could take a step back, Coastal Distillery and Brewing is going to give you a palpitation to the heart is only a legal name. Matter of fact, over the last year I've been to dozens and dozens of breweries, restaurants, who go up and get their liquor license in the back. And I was over to Tofino last year, and I think Tofino's liquor license says, Joe's liquor license, so forth, right? So the branding and experience and name does it, as Andre accurately refers to things, are there for size, scale, format, but the name.
Yeah, I thought that in one of the reports where the west wall, that they were saying like there's just a huge blank wall. Kind of combined with that is the fact that I thought that would be like a really nice place to be creative, like, barring the sign by law, without respect to that, it would be kind of a neat thing.
Andre, you have a comment?
Yeah, just coming back to my previous comment, I do see now the comment that Mr. Councillor Lumley is referring to. It was in my opinion, a side conversation about the next phases for the brewery, adjacent to the brewery. So sorry about that. There was a comment made about the affordable housing, about the future phases around this site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go away, now go away. Go away, you just about got your resolution, so don't talk. All Councilor Larry, move
Move
second.
the recommendation.
Councilor White, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, no one to stop. 5.2. Okay. Well, this is a nice report too. Nice. She's doing a good job, Katie. You should send her up here sometime instead of you, actually. Doing some good reports there. This one seemed pretty straightforward to me as well. Seems to fit quite well. Anything come up for anybody on this one? Councilor Larry?
I attended the APC discussion on this, and what I heard makes me want to move the recommendation.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get a seconder. First of all, Councilor White. Anybody else have anything on that one? Andre, yes?
I just want to mention that Mr. Travis Hanks came over from Vancouver today to attend this discussion. So if you have questions for him, he's available. This gentleman over here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for coming. And I wanted to comment and thank the applicants to proactively follow up on the APC recommendations. As you can see in the report, they made some design changes to the building, particularly on the front of the Gibsons Way, also in the landscaping plan, and a particular element along the front of the building all along for every townhouse was also updated. So I just want to make that comment. Thank you.
Yes, I observed that they were responsive to those suggestions. So, okay, so if nothing else, then Councilor Lumber.
I would actually like to ask a question if I could, through you, Mayor. I noticed that they were saying that it was the building design, in the building design, say figure 7, it was like a cement cladding, wherein there was much discussion in the APC about the use of the clay and the wood chip. So I was just, when I was reading the report, I was just kind of confused as to, is it going to be, I don't know the technical. Yeah, is it going to be more of a hardy board, or is this something completely different? I just wasn't sure.
The fiber cement panel, the fiber cement panel is basically something similar, but our intent with that is to have to bring in some earth tones. We're also mixing that with waves and soffits, and there also I think will be some metal. So trying to blend a couple of different materials to change of texture.
And cause I really liked it. I really thought it was an awesome design. I mean, the only other comment I had was maybe we could replace page 111 of the smart plan, because that picture really distressed me. Like I was depressed after I looked at that picture. Maybe move it to our derelict home bylaw binder, or come up with a different type of picture for it. That's my suggestion anyway.
So that was moved to second, right? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, thanks for coming up. Look forward to getting that project underway. That's the type of housing that we need here. So get on with it. Yeah. Okay. 5.3, late item added, liquor license. Endorsement. Okay, so.
Mayor, prepared the presentation mainly to give an introduction, but also to be able to more easily look at all the criteria that the Civic Board asks us to consider. And then the third item for today is also to have opportunity for the public to comment if anybody came to the meeting for that. So we'll do the introduction part, and then maybe hand over to you, Mr. Mayor, to see if there's public input before I actually present the criteria.
Okay, yes, all right. Okay, so is there anyone here that's wishing to comment on this application? application for the liquor license lounge at 1009 Gibsons Lane. And just ask once more, is there anybody here that's wishing to comment on that application? Seeing none, okay, Andre, carry on.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is specifically a referral for DC, DC Liquor Board, official legal name, Liquor Control and Licensing Branch. That's what they go by. And this is for focusing on business rate, we're just talking about performing character. I provided council with more details earlier, and some of that has been attached to this report, the backgrounds of the brewery itself, the distillery, and the tasting room. But today I'll highlight just a couple of things. The site is next to the BMO, the Blue Heron Village, phase 1 and 2. The phase 2 building is not shown here, but it's basically where those house numbers are already shown, even though the building is not shown. This is the site plan. This is the overview of the property, existing building. To the back, more parking will be created. Right now, it pretty much stops here. Some of this parking was already created when the bigger development next door was done. Driveway entrance is already there, will be continue to be used. And then the upper level and the main level, that is where you can see where the distillery and brewery part takes place, which is on the lower portion of the site plans, floor plans. And the colored section, that's where the tasting lounge is. So the tasting lounge is particularly at the BC Liquor Board would like to have our comments on. There's also a garden patio on the Gibsons Way frontage on the front side of the building. And together, the request part of the tasting lounge application is 88 seats inside and 52 outside, total of wait a minute, that's not correct. 88 and 50 something, or adding up to, let me see here, I need to peek in my slide report there, sorry about that. Should I read it on the slide? 138. 138 in total. No, I think it was higher actually. It was 146. They missed the wrong thing on here. 88 and 54. 88 and 54. Oh, there you go. 88 seats inside and 54 on the back here. Sorry about that. Let me see. Yeah, that provides a general overview. In terms of the public process and getting input for this, that's another requirement from the BC Liquor Board. What we've done, we followed a policy that we have on in our council policy manual, and it outlines how we seek public input. And it involves advertising, looking for input from the RCP, and a notification in the area adjacent to the site. Yeah, I'd like to quickly go over additional comments that we received. Some of the comments that we received to date were in the staff report, including the RCP having no comments on this one. A number of additional ones, 5 additional comments submissions were provided to us. I've handed them out to you at the start of the meeting. Because we did discuss the other ones in the staff report and made some comments about parking and garbage enclosures, I also want to quickly touch on what is in these additional 5 submissions, just for information. A submission from Ms. Sinclair, and she's supporting the proposal, but has concerns about odors. Ms. Miller has provided support, she thinks it's a welcome addition. No other comments. Mr. Coons, and we have a Grandma's Pub, raised some concerns. He was not sure if this was in the best interest of the public to allow more liquor licenses. He feels that there should be more time to respond. There's questions about hours of operation, driveway entrance, what kind of food will be served, if there's a special event endorsement, which there's not, there's no request for special event endorsement. He mentions that he feels that tasting rooms should be less than 40 seats, and feels that the seating capacity is more for pubs or clubs. And then we also got a submission from Ms. Yamal, who is a property owner close by. she has concerns about how wastewater would be treated with, and questions about how that would occur. Maybe I'll explain that quickly. So having breweries, there's not application books as well. The wastewater that comes out of a brewery has particular characteristics that don't quite fit what we normally would accept into our sanitary system, but there are ways to manage that. And it's something that is under review for the other liquor license application. It's something that we also have to look at for this one. I see here that Ms. Jamal makes the assumption that there is no connection to the sanitary system. That's not correct. It will still be connected to the sanitary system, but possibly with some screening before that wastewater enters our system. He also raises environmental impacts in general, fuel leaks or site contamination. And those are things that would be covered through the building permits and through best practices. And then finally, the last, the fifth additional accommodation provided was by Ms. Seltzer, and she was also wondering about the types of food that would be provided. Questions the availability of parking, and concerned with smells. And she's suggesting that council would make sure that the patio and the lounge are closed at 10 instead of 11. Right. So in the coming slides, I have the criteria that the DC Liquor Board would like to comment on. And in my report, I provided two options. We could discuss it more generally today, and I could hear from council what council's views are in response to the comments from the community or own preferences. And maybe tentatively indicate where your preferences are, then I could bring this back to the next council meeting with a more definite set of recommendations. Or if you have time and appetite, we could try to tie everything down to Dave. That's why I thought it would be handy to put in on the presentation. So either way, it's up to you. Let me see. I could now go into the actual criteria, if that's the right moment, or if I could like if there's general discussion before that, we can do that.
Talk about the criteria that's required by the Council Sanchez.
I do have a couple questions before we jump into the criteria, and I know that microbreweries and tasting. So it may be that I don't understand this part of the business, so I'm going to ask these questions. One is maybe how does the BC Liquor Branch define this, and maybe they don't. So maybe my question is also to Mr. Longman, and maybe it's already answered by how the Liquor Branch defines this, but typically, how late is a tasting room open? Question. I do have a question around how many seats are typical, or if it's a pub or a lounge. So I know it's new, but those would be two things that kind of jumped out at me as well when I was reviewing.
Mr. Mayor, I have some information on this, and perhaps if Mr. Longman has any information to add, I could ask him for additional information. But your first question about BC Liquor Board, how they look at this, it's a category on its own. It's not a pub or a winery, the tasting lounge, specifically an option for breweries and distilleries, as far as I know. So it's a particular type of license that this application is for. Opening hours, I didn't do a comparison in hours. I noticed that the proposed hours are shorter than our pub hours that we have in town, but I haven't done a comparison. I'm not sure if Mr. Longman has more information on that. And then the third question about typical size, I haven't done that comparison. We did look at the site plan, and what happens with liquor license applications is that the BC Liquor Board specifically asked the building inspector locally to review the proposed site plan, and then based on the BC building code, he makes an assessment of what the capacity would be for that area of floor area. And we have done that as well in this case early on in the process. our building inspector, came up with a slightly lower amount, 82, I believe, inside, and 54 outside. So that needs to be, ironed out still, if it's going to be 82 or 88, but it's generally, that's the ballpark that they're looking at. So there's capacity for it. If that's a typical size for tasting lounges, I'm not sure.
I guess based on the parking bylaw, there's enough parking spots for like the inside portion, but the patios are generally exempt from any parking, right? As far as our parking lot bylaw goes, like you don't have to have a parking space for patio, right? Is that,
Yeah, I don't have that ready. I think we included the patio stalls as well, Mr. Nolan, could you confirm that?
When Andre and I went through the process, we were well in excess. I think we were 30 or 40% more parking than required by the zoning. That said, Steph, going back to my previous comment that the whole effect of trying to drive these villages is trying to have businesses in conjunction with the other businesses. So what's interesting here is the first business that our peak hours will be long after, like Bliss Cafe, Bank of Montreal both close at 4 o'clock every day. So we think that the parking is really not an issue because we're gonna have the flow over into the.
I only ask because I just, you know, so many times if you see things get down the road, like you're gonna be applying for a manufacturer, like a lounge license and everything, and then some of these things rear their ugly heads later, like, you know, as far as like seating capacities, that's why I asked. You know. But if in the future you're gonna be relying on like the Bank of Montreal parking and so on and so forth, I guess it just has to be like clear that up.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll double check. I reviewed this earlier in the process. We did review the parking, post parking, and it was well within the bylaw requirements, but I want to double check now if that apply just to indoor seats or outdoor as well. I'm not quite sure.
Right, so there's, excuse me, some specific items that have to be, resolutions, I guess, from councils, or a little bit different than what I've seen in the past. Part of resolution with respect to each matter that has to be considered. I guess I'll just start going through this and see whether we're there or not. For something further. So the first one is the one under location, and that resolution is on page 5. So the resolution would be either the council endorses the location of the proposed tasting lounge based on the current zoning FOCP, or council does not support the proposed location. All right.
I'll move the endorsement.
So, endorsement by me, okay. Second, Councillor White. Further discussion on that one? All in favor? That's carried. Next one's proximity to other social, recreational, public facilities. And the options there are councils of the opinion that the proposed tasting lounge would not interfere with the surrounding social, recreation, public facilities, or council, the alternative council has concerns regarding the proposed tasting lounge because of its proximity to social, recreation, public facilities. Right. 2A then, second then, Councillor Valeria, further discussion on that one? Being done, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Number 3, person capacity. So this one is the council support the occupant load for the interior and exterior tasting lounge in areas in accordance with the BC building code. Or alternative, council has concerns regarding the occupant load due to patio capacity or too large, or interior capacity too large. So in the preamble to this one, it's indicating that the occupant load for the tasting area is 88 and the patio 54, so 142, right? With us, no.
It's a proposed number, and the building inspector is reviewing this, if he would up his previous, assessment of 82 to 88 or not. If that cannot be supported, our recommendation would be to look at board is to keep it to 82 seats based on the building code review.
We're willing to make that concession as well.
So you can just take that right now, is that what you're saying, Mr.
Absolutely.
Longman,
Yep.
82? And we set that maximum at 82 for the tasting area and 54 for the patio. Councilor Valeri?
Just have a question, I'm sorry if we covered this, I'm a little confused. This, doing the LCLB supports this number of seats, the application wouldn't have come to us for referral if they weren't, if it's fit within their, right? Is that correct?
I'm not sure, I had the same question, I just didn't have a chance to follow up with him on this particular item. But
Can I follow up, I can follow up, offer some clarification on that. This application sat in front of the liquor board for almost 6 months prior to making it to you guys. And anything that we were failing to meet the criteria was sent back to us, additional fees paid, and move forward. So it's not, the only reason it's here is because we proceeded to meet all their expectations, and now they're looking for your referral back to them for their support.
Okay, so in other words, the license that you're applying for fits with these numbers, is what you're saying? No? Okay. Councilor Valeri?
Move the support of the alternate limit, 3A.
Okay, at 82, right? So 82 people for the tasting area, okay. Second, Councilor Wright, all in favor then? Okay, that's carried. Hours of operation. Either council support the hours of operation as presented in the license lounge endorsement, which is 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Alternatively, council would support hours of operation if they were reduced during the week. Thirdly, council has concern regarding post hours of operation, so one of those. Councilor, move A, Councilor Lumley, okay. So, Councilor Wright, second that, okay. Any further discussion there? All in favor then? Okay, that's carried. Traffic, noise, parking, and zoning, so the option there, council support the lounge at Coast Distillery and Brewery finds the related traffic, noise, parking, and zoning can be accommodated in this location, or alternatively, the council has concerns with that. It's pretty much a commercial area. Councilor White, Councilor Lumley, discussion, all in favor then, that's carried. Impact on community if approved, council supports the proposed lounge as presented and finds it will have a positive overall impact on the community. Alternatively, council has concerns about the proposed lounge because of the following adverse effects on the community, with any of them identified, so. Okay, so 6A, moved by Councilor White, Councilor Valeria, all in favor, carried. 7, views of residents, so council's reviewed the letters, input from CMP and fire, so council support, so options are council supports the proposed testing lounge in light of the considerations and comments above, and request that the licensing board and applicant consider the community's input on finalizing the approval. Or alternatively, council does not support the proposed tasting lounge in its current format in light of consideration and comments above, so. Okay, on that one as well. Takes into consideration. Yes, Councilor Barry? You move that?
Move A.
Yeah, second, Councilor Sandino. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. I think those are the resolutions that you need, so that's, those are the ones that, you sort of worded it a bit differently, but I think we're, those resolutions, anything else? I'm just looking at the recommendation, the way you worded it, council select the following options, so. You good with that? Yes. Okay, all right, that's fine then. Okay, Oh, you on that one, isn't it? Okay, all right.
Thanks, so.
Okay, all right. So is there something else? Right?
Mr. Lowe is wondering if he could say something.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick.
You always.
No, I won't go on, no, do you know how long the water went on that? Anyways, I'd just like to thank mayor and council, you guys didn't have an easy job, and I was saying to Michelle and earlier tonight, how, you guys have a thankless job, and it's very tough, you're putting through difficult situations, really difficult topics, and I think we hopefully made this one easy, but you guys are a thankless job, and I appreciate everything you guys do for the community. I'd also like to thank the ACP, Sheriff Pam Robertson, she did a great job, and some of the suggestions we've taken to heart. Whenever we put a development in front of you guys, and a development permit application in front of you, we feel that's a minimum bar we're trying to set for the community, and we're always looking to improve it as we move the process. And last but not least, Wally touched on this, Katie, Thomas and Andre Bowles, you guys have a real pair of them, they're not easy, they're hard, they push for the town's best interest, and, we are thankful for all of our work they put into this project for us, for the community. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Councilor Webb.
Yeah, Bill brought up the ABC and directly address those comments, but I just want to all of us who read those really helpful. ABC discussing this.
Yeah, certainly echo your thoughts on that. It certainly, allows us to move through those reports quite readily. Those are quite thorough. Okay, Councilor Clark.
I just have a question for staff. I think we've all shown the support for this and that we're not really interested in meddling in the fine details of, all the different pieces we provide, but I'm just wondering through the mayor to staff, if any of these became a problem at any time, do we have a mechanism for revisiting and possibly changing it if we start to see any cracks in approach by the LCLB?
That would be through the liquor board, so somehow, well, I think for starters, we would first, talk to the owners and operators of the brewery itself. But if that wouldn't work, at some point, we could approach the BC Liquor Board and say, well, we have problems or concerns about this licensed operation, in which case.
Okay, 5.4, grants and assistance, and taking.
Thank you, Mayor Rowe. Fairly simple report. Round 2 of our grants of assistance for the year. We have $5,000 remaining at the second intake date. We had 2 applications, Sunshine Coast Skating Club for $5,000 and Special Olympics Sunshine Coast for $600. So we're slightly over subscribed from the application, but as I just mentioned in my report, at round 1, where we had the bulk of submissions, it was a much difficult decision for council to try and fit the request into the available budget. And each of those applicants, for the most part, I think were shrunk in order to fit. So it remains your decision as to how you award these particular applicants.
I look at it in a slightly different way. I think we were fair in round 1. I think those applicants asked for the amounts or close to the amounts they ended up receiving. I were to have a chance to visit round 1. I don't really want to revisit round 1. But part of that is that I think that we need to be fair to the and award applicants that are in line in round 1. And in saying that, I can see, I think that both applications that are before us are very strong other grant totals have already been awarded 1,000 for the skating club. Special investment. Awarded in round one just because.
I would echo that fairness. I'd almost say 1,000 to each of them. Like the only thing with the Special Olympics, Sunshine Coast would do that type of funding anyway, so. I would suggest that 1,000 bucks each. I totally agree with the fairness of it. It almost seems like at the end of the day, when we have all this money left over, we're just plunking it down on one or two people. That's what it appears to me.
I see that Special Olympics is they've actually provided us with a budget of an event they want to part way, and let's say 1,000 I'll move 1,000 to the skating club and 600 to Special Olympics.
What happens to the surplus? Does it roll into next year, or is it done?
Typically, it does not. It will just remain as to help fund other items. But as I did mention in my report, because this year we had a special application made by the Gibsons Curling Club for their 40th anniversary, that was initially to be funded out of our capital reserve as opposed to this is operating money. So as I mentioned, an opportunity will arise if we have underspent our operating monies to then use that money to fund the grant to the curling club, which has already been awarded, and then only draw the remaining portion, which would be 1,000 or thereabouts from our capital reserve. So I think it's a good way to sort of prolong the existence of the capital reserve.
Pat, you've waited all this time, so, and I know you just want to say something, so.
Well, I'll be really brief. The fact is, last year, we were told that we would not get a grant last year because we did not have a specific event that we were planning. So this year, we planned a specific event so we could apply. However, Special Olympics does a huge amount in our community. $1,000 will go a long way, but if you only have 600, we'll take it, so. But, it certainly, the reason that we put in 600 was because we were told we needed to put in more events.
It was your motion, wasn't it?
The motion is actually owned by the team.
Or anything further on that? Motion is $1,000 for skating club, 600 for. Okay, Pat, we'll try again next year.
Big event next year.
Yes, indeed. Okay, council reports,
I just actually wanted to give a little shout out to SOAN, the Self-Employed Women's Network on the Sunshine Coast. They held an event at the Seaside Center this last weekend, and I was out of town. I unfortunately missed it, but I'm pleased to report that I've heard from SOAN, and they had over 100 for their trade show at the Seaside Center Saturday. So it's just a big success, and again, that's a lot of hardworking volunteers making that organization go to support the financial sustainability of self-employed women.
I need to submit a written report, so I plan to submit a written report as I usually do.
No verbal report from me tonight, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
I also attended UBCM, and I'd like to say that I I learned a lot about, as we discuss affordable housing, and, it almost links in with the new venture. We're talking about more service jobs. We're talking about, you know, maybe lower income people that are gonna be at a counter serving beer, and, I think, look forward to speaking with council and staff and getting going on a plan. We really need a plan for our town for short-term rentals, how we're gonna manage them, and, we've gotta move forward with that, I think, pretty quickly, or else we'll be behind the eight ball, and we won't have any housing for all these people that we need, so.
I think, I'll just mention that the museum had its grand reopening. Council White was there the other day as well, and good turnout. I was amazed at the number of people. And as well, the Turning Club also celebrated their 40th anniversary and have the ice plant that we donated to up and running, and a big contribution of $50,000 from the federal government and $30,000 from community force, actually, the legacy program, and the Sunshine Coast Credit Union as well. They're doing a good job up there. And Rick, was this the last meeting you're covering with us?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much for your slanted coverage of our event.
It was slanted in your direction. Thank you.
Okay, bylaws, 8.1, Parkland Phase 3, zoning amendment bylaw. Oh, sorry, correspondence, yes, join us to receive it, is Councilor Sanjanko, Councilor Valerian, all in favor? Is there anything arising out of that, anybody? Oh, okay. Bylaws, 8.1, Parkland Phase 3, zoning amendment bylaw. It's here for third reading. Is there anything to be added from finance perspective? No? Okay. All right, so, well, let's get it on the table, I guess. First of all, let's get it moved. Councilor Sandanko, second Councilor White. Any discussion, anything rising out of the public hearing that we had earlier today on this topic? And that's it, wishes made for seeking further clarification. Councilor White?
Pull my notes together. Some of my comments may be scattered too, since we just heard comments. I support this bylaw. I think it really is a very important development for Gibsons and we move forward. It's an innovative development. It's full consultation, a lot of work with the developer for many years, and I think we really need to focus on that, which is we're actually looking at in the bylaw. There are many important issues associated with the development. I think some of them were raised when very impassioned feedback from residents about outside of this bylaw, and either way, there have been issues. Clearly, have been issues with communications in the past on this. Feel like I'm very thankful to the residents for raising those issues of communications, and I think it's helped us our process better, and I hope that it's other developments as well. I'm also very thankful staff and this council the way our staff especially have. I see a lot of responsiveness too in terms of density. Really, this one thing that excites me about this development is it's not a traditional single-family home, large plot with one home on it, kind of living on the Sunshine Coast. 30 people who moved here aren't sustainable, living, green living, and, I think, wide range of issues. And I think stormwater management is something that's been raised frequently. It's not subject to this bylaw either. And if anything, I see changes being proposed here that will address some of the concerns about even flooding was mentioned in the neighborhood. I think that clearly, I heard from a resident today that acknowledgement that the pond is in the wrong place, and it's always been in the wrong place. And don't move the pond in one sentence. So I have to go with the latter, is we do have to move the pond. Clearly, the way that the storm, the drainage is working. I appreciate also responsiveness to the road closure. And I think something in here, all these notes. I think it's really important overall that we work some more. Currently, phase 2 pulled out. There's a lot of demand for housing. This is comparably more affordable housing. I think I want to see this community built. Gibsons who have been for us and presented their views on a wide range of topics kind of around this bylaw. And I'd like to see that community residents built up. No longer be a construction zone, too. I think a lot of what was behind a lot of the concerns heard is that it's a bit of an unstable place to live right now. There are the day that this finished. And
Other comments or observations before we move forward? No? Okay, I'll just, I think Councillor White has covered the main points around here on this topic, and certainly a strong goal of this council is to try to create relatively affordable housing. I'm not talking about just affordable housing, but something people can buy, and these places are in the range of type of properties that are being acquired. I think I want to also acknowledge the developer in this particular case. They've had to stick through a pretty tough time. There were conditions imposed upon them that, in retrospect, didn't work out very well, and that really was the town that put those conditions out there. And we have a developer that's committed to our community, and I do believe really does have the best interests of our community at heart. And I think that the representative today heard concerns, and I'm sure that they will do their best to try to accommodate the residents in that area. So I will be supporting this as well. Councillor Mumley.
So I would like to add a couple of things. I mean, I went on that walk, and I completely sympathize with the people that live there with respect to the continuous construction. Some of the difficulties. I thought, while I was on the walk, I thought Mr. Newman made some really good points as to fixing up or some ideas, and a lot of residents that on the walk too had some great ideas. The one thing is the affordable housing. I know it keeps coming up, but when we first came on council, we amended the affordable housing policy because it was based on the LIFT policy. And, just to let you know, these funds that, the developers contribute to the affordable housing, reserve fund are gonna be immense in the future. We've already started using some of them. It's not necessarily that the plan fit in with the affordable housing, but the contributions from the developer are gonna go a long way to make sure that a number of people get into affordable homes. And I really was happy to hear that you're gonna rent the homes out, you're keeping them and renting them out. I think that's huge for the community. So, I mean, yeah, I will be supporting this as well.
Nothing further then, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. 8.2 permissive property tax exemption bylaws, here for second and third reading, we just ask for a mover of that. Mr. Sanjanko, second. Mr. White, all in favor then, and that's carried. Short-term capital borrowing bylaw, is here for final adoption. Councilor Valeria, Councilor Sanjanko, Councilor Adrian.
Excuse me, with Mayor Will. 8.3 was only on for tonight's agenda in case we received ministerial approval to proceed. We do not have that yet, so it's premature to
Okay,
have it on.
thank you, so. Based on the motion with that out of the agenda, Councilor Valeria, Councilor Sanjanko, all in favor? Carried. Thanks, again for interrupting and letting me know that. Any inquiries at this point? Sean?
Can I ask a question about an item that just disappeared? I was just curious with I know I've seen it in an earlier report and couldn't track it down again, but how are you doing with the utility? You're taking anything on that yet?
I think the answer to that is no, but I don't know if anybody. We plan to.
You want me?
It's getting closer as the subdivision is filling up, but it obviously needs more customers. There's additional fields yet to go, so it's a longer term work in progress. But we know from just anecdotal evidence that a number of the people like to move into that subdivision because of that characteristic.
Last inquiries, otherwise we've got some stuff to deal with. And there's a lady there, you're gonna take the microphone over, please.
Sorry.
Thank you for
Thank
staying.
you for thinking of it.